everyone. I'm Parshihi, the Executive Director of Gordon State Film Festival. And today I'm really excited. We have the cast and crew of Reboot Camp. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. First, let's go around and introduce ourselves. So everyone want to start with Kel?
Sure. I'm Keli Bryce. I play Danny Barr in Reboot Camp.
My name's Eddie McClintock.
You play Cooper.
Yeah.
I play Cooper. Hello.
I'm Chaz Bono. I play Herbie.
Herbie.
Ivo Raza. I am the director of the film.
And the writer.
And the writer, yes.
David Lipper. I play two characters, Seymour Barr and Gordon St. Pierre.
Hi. I'm Maya Stoyan and I play Claire.
Oh my gosh. So by the way, the film Reboot Camp, you're up for a nomination for Best Ensemble in a Feature. So we're thrilled about that. Okay, so let's start. How did this project come to be?
Well, it's, it was a project that it's a topic that I have always been very interested in. This combo of how people get seduced into believing various things that to the naked eye feels and looks, the common sense is kind of gone. And I started researching and I figured it would be a really fun comedy. And I also wanted to write something that can be produced on a relatively limited budget because I had spent several years prior trying to get several projects financed and went through countless meetings and countless, the old saying, you die of encouragement trying to make films. And I was just ready to just get something done that I knew we could make without having to raise, $25 million. And so that's basically how Reboot came to be, and the style, a mockumentary style, was chosen for that, partly for that reason too, but partly because it's a really fun way of telling the story.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And how did the casting go? I mean, the cast is just unbelievable. You nailed it completely. How was that process?
Thank you. Dave, you want to jump in? You were the cast master.
Ivo called me up and we had done a film several years ago and had a really good experience working together. And he said, I've got this new film and I want to, I have you in mind for the lead and I want to meet with you and talk to you about it. We had lunch and I said, I think I can help put this together. Can't believe we have mosquitoes in LA.
Can you do that in this movie too?
I do. I have a moment in the film where I'm meditating and then I go. And then it was just a matter of, okay, let's talk about people I know, who I'm going to see if I can get. And we'll kind of go from there. Keli and I have worked together before. Maya and I have worked together before. Eddie and I have worked together before. Chaz, I've known his manager since
Chaz came through David. David Roberts was one of the co-producers. Remember, Chaz came through David.
He did, but also I know Chaz's manager since he was an associate with my agent, my first agent in LA, going back to 19 a long time ago. So I knew Ryan for quite some time when he was Bonnie Likey's associate. He was my first agent. And so, yeah, that was great. And now Chaz is part of the family and was a huge part of this film. So everybody here, there's a personal connection to Ed Begley and his wife I've known for years. Jarul is a friend of one of our executive producers, Tim. And so that's kind of how it all came together. It wasn't really like we had a casting. I picked up the phone and called people that I knew. I've been around for a long time. Ivo's been around for a long time, and this was about relationships. This was saying, we've got something really fun here. Who wants to jump in and join us? And everybody just jumped in, and did an amazing job.
You know what? let's talk about the synopsis of the film really quickly, and then Ming, can we play the trailer after, or either or? I thought you had it up. Okay, sorry. All right, so tell us the synopsis of the film in your words, so that I'm not,
So it's basically a film within a film, or a film about a film. The story is these two brothers, played by Keli and David, Danny and Seymour Barr, who create this fake self-help group called Reboot Camp, but they film it in real time with the excuse that they are filming it for educational purposes, but they're really doing it as a clandestine documentary operation so that they can film things that are happening in the moment versus documentary who usually cover events in the past. And as they're doing it, the Reboot Camp takes off, and people start really believing in the teaching methods and exercises, and it helps them, and it grows. And of course, when something becomes successful, others become interested, and money becomes involved. And then Claire, Maya, joins as our let's call it antagonist to a degree, and she wants to take over, and she creates a really good conflict for the two brothers, because Seymour, which is David's character, wants to continue, and Keli doesn't, and that creates a huge conflict, and that's how the story then continues and ends, by causing a rift between the brothers and Claire taking over.
You want to roll the trailer? Are you good? Okay, let's roll the trailer. So, because I know it, you guys know it. So let's play it for everybody.
To most of us, he was more than just a guy. He was our spiritual leader.
John, I want you to talk to yourself now.
Oh,
this is you at 14.
You're out here, you're selling drugs, you're having sex with grown women. Straighten up right now, before it's too late. Stop and stop selling drugs.
Can I be the 14-year-old him?
Who am I? What should I be? Who should I be?
It was a great concept. We would create a larger-than-life personality with a unique self-help program and document the process.
His teachings were eccentric.
The stupider the approach, the more people loved it.
Today we're going to dump the virus and the malware into the toilet. Hey, qu'est-ce que tu fais, toi? No, it's a figurative dump.
What's funny is our teachings actually worked. Word got out, people just started showing up.
Listen, there are two kinds of yoga. We have the restorative, we bring in the white light. And then we have the hangry yoga, where we let it out.
Mother
son of a bitch!
My wife convinced me to go to one of the events.
Oh, take the love, Jean.
Okay, I'm really not comfortable with this.
We had created a cult. Seymour wasn't Gordon anymore. He was now the Sherpa.
There's this saying, you don't know you're in a cult until the last 10 minutes.
They were making a documentary and he was taping people having sex.
I actually knew from the beginning that he was a fake.
This whole project is about fakeness and fake people, Mom.
You don't feel responsible for duping people?
Duping? No, this was investigative filmmaking.
Set us free, set us free, set us free.
Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups.
Reboot Camp is going awesome! Set free, set us free.
Amazing. Let's talk about all the different personalities that went into building the characters that, when you think about the brainwashing aspect of the people who are vulnerable, it's just so funny. I'm sorry, I can't stop smiling. But let's talk about all of the different personalities and Chaz, your role. I mean, it's just so funny from the beginning to the end. I'm laughing at the end of the movie.
Sure. Well, yeah, I think I'm the only actual cult member here. For me, when I read it, Herbert just the ultimate reboot camper, ultimate, cult member. He fully drank the Kool-Aid. and I, I come in with this weird situation about my girlfriend leaving me for my neighbor, and then I kind of end up becoming like Claire's first real convert, and so I move into the house, and then I'm one of the people. In the end, I go with Claire, and we're off to form our new, more intense Reboot Collective. It's right, Reboot Collective, and it's intense, and we're dressing in red, and so that was kind of from the top. I think I had talked to Evo about, like I said, I just see him as he's just so enthusiastic and so into this from the beginning, and pretty much anytime you see me in the film, I'm like, yeah. So that was Herbert. Until the end, when I'm like kind of now I'm just totally kind of a cult zombie.
The scene at the gate, I just replay it over and over in my mind. And then it's so amazing, the wardrobe, and Maya, everything that you wore, I was in awe with how you guys did all of the wardrobe, but especially for Maya's character. Do you want to talk about that?
Do you want me to talk about it? Or,
yeah.
It was a great choice. Just red is the color of power, and she starts off being all in black, very professional, kind of how I am now. But I think the turn to red for me was really just her, gaining power, gaining influence, and the color red is so much a color of sort of passion, and of influence, of power. So I think that was a really great choice on, I guess, Evo's end, and wardrobe.
I stole this outfit idea choice was actually from the Jonestown cult. They all had red t-shirts and blue jeans.
So cool. And it was like very clean lines. It was like you could feel that it was crisp and airy kind of feeling to go along with the whole theme of the movie.
Yeah. It's I'm a huge believer in this kind of color theory, and the Stanley Kubricks and all the people who have these unlimited budgets to do that. So I try to do that on a small scale, just because you can't afford to change sets and colors and on an indie production like this. But you can add it with little details, and there's tons of little details and Easter eggs and things that I'm hoping people will discover and have fun with. I'm not going to say what they are because that takes away the fun, but a bunch of little stuff. Obviously the wardrobe choice was different because that's very visible, but yeah.
It was so cool. Okay, let's talk about how much was improv.
Oh, there was a lot of improv. So one of the things Evo and I discussed going into it is that while he had a great script, it was a little short on pages intentionally so that there'd be some room for improv, and we knew that some of the funniest moments would be discovered during the process, that they weren't on the page, but they would eventually pop out. And so all those sessions that you see with Gordon and, let's say, Jarul and Keckner or Corinne Olympios and so on, with the Eric Roberts and his wife, these were improv moments. So Evo would kind of throw a few suggestions at me and say, hey, make sure you kind of get this hot topic or that topic, but it was essentially completely flying blind. And also a testament to our cinematographer, Derek Cohn, who, had to kind of zoom in and zoom out and catch these moments as they were happening, which is very difficult when you're in unscripted territory. And it's one of the reasons why Evo and I brought on Jim Johnston as another producer who has successfully run about 20 seasons of The Real World, which was, the original reality show. And so Jim had a lot of knowledge in that space and he actually played the character of the interviewer, who helped ask the questions outside of the sessions that Gordon did with these people. There was also the interviewer who interviewed them after. and got some of those sound bites. So so that's one of the most beautiful parts of this film is what happened organically, what happened during the process, where I'm simply listening to these people and coming up with my best self-help bullshit.
And what was fun is it was built into the design from the beginning. And so every night before we would go in the next day, I stayed at Dave's house while we were shooting this, which was very fun and also very convenient. We would brainstorm a bunch of this stuff and just kind of write out ideas and say, hey, you know, here's an exercise we could do. And we wouldn't tell anything to anybody, so it was fresh.
I love that.
You know, for example, we brought in some really, you know, annoying characters and to mess with Chaz, which he hated, but it you know, it came out real great because it was very genuine. And so and then the great thing with David was that, you know, once he took off, he really embodied this personality. So he just tossed stuff into the mix. And then, you know, the beauty of improv is the old yes and bouncer. Hey, stop it, Matilda, please. And then it just kind of snowballed into this crazy situations with, you know, Jarul and David Koechner and everybody else, really. So there, you know, you kind of design this very rough shell and then like, let's go and see what happens. And then we had situations where the crew was laughing so hard you can hear it on the sound. So we had to like clean that up.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of fun.
That's hysterical. Kelly, tell us about your character. What was it like, especially trying to not laugh?
Oh, it was very difficult. Try not to laugh. But no, about Danny's Danny Barr. He, you know, he was kind of making furniture commercials, and he was a filmmaker doing all kinds of odd jobs, and this was a way out for him doing this movie if it was successful. So he was all in, and his brother was like his best friend, and he just looked up to him and wanted to do anything that his brother was involved in also, and so, you know, down the line in the film when Seymour starts to turn his back on Danny, it's heartbreaking for him, and so he has a decision to make, but ultimately his goal is getting this project done, and they come together at the end and they try to get Chaz's character back, and yeah. So.
And I love how Cooper just like pops up throughout the film, and then you're like, wait, what's going on? Eddie, how was that playing that character?
It was great. You know, I was very thankful to David and Evo to pull me in. I've known David for a lot of years, and when I saw the character, and since it was kind of a mockumentary, it reminded me of you know, that crew that does Christopher Guest and the Spinal Tap crew and Waiting for Guffman, and I always just loved Christopher Guest's characters that he created, and I'd never had an opportunity to just create this out of body character. So I tried to push it as hard as I could without turning into a caricature. And Evo was very helpful there when we started off. I remember what I was doing, and Evo just came over and he was like, I like where you're going. Just, you know, it's always I think better for a director to ask somebody to pull the character back a little bit, as opposed to going, you know, can you give me a little more?
Die harder, man. You know?
Yeah. So you know, the fact that I mean, that's kind of the dream character when you get to just come in and out, and everything that you do is kind of set up to be funny or odd or interesting. So it was a lot of fun.
For me, you know, to jump in real quick here, Cooper was a character that was written on purpose throughout the film, with just a few lines here and there. And then, you know, once Eddie came on board, I so regretted not having more presence of him because he did such a fantastic job. But we were done shooting. That was it. But it was just so much fun you brought to this, character that you explored and had fun with, and we put him in all kinds of situations. Like every character we tried to give them a bit of a life and world to live in. So he's like a total, health nut, and so whenever you see him, he's doing something well-being, and that's kind of the ongoing joke with him. And I just wish in hindsight we had a chance to bring him in more, because he just did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
But to touch on what these guys were saying, when Eddie was talking about getting too big, one of the things Evo was religious about was making sure that nobody got too shticky, and that we stayed as real people, even if we were eccentric characters like Eddie was as Cooper. And that was really important. And what was great to see by example are two guys who are, staples in the mockumentary world. So we had Ed Begley Jr., who's been in some of those Christopher Guest movies that Eddie's talked about. I think about 15 of them, actually, including Best in Show, which is one of the more successful ones.
Yeah.
And then David Koechner, who did one of the more famous mockumentary shows in The Office. And what you notice with those two guys is how little they do, is how they don't push at all. They play it completely straight, completely real. And that was where the comedy came in, because it was so genuine. It's the situation that's absurd, and that's where the comedy comes in. But over the top pushing was not going to help us. And so these guys kind of, just as the pros in the genre, really led by example there. And then I think Evo did a really good job in making sure that none of the campers ever got too big or too much of a caricature, as Eddie put it, and stayed as real as possible. And I think that's one of the reasons why this ensemble works so well.
Yeah, I mean, as a character actor, that's so important, because, I know for myself, I mean, I always want to make a huge statement. And in doing that, you need somebody to say, okay, that's working, or that's, too much. You see films when a director isn't editing an actor and it doesn't work. So that's really important. You need to have that trust in who you're working with when you're doing crazy shit.
But what's beautiful about this project is that everybody literally who came in was amazing. And so you're not dealing with big issues. You're dealing with micro adjustments just to get these really wonderful moments in a really subtle way. And there's no, everybody got it, and they got the story, and they got the characters. And for somebody in my role, this is a dream. It's a dream to work like this, because it all comes together, and as you're seeing it unfold, you're giddy inside, like, oh my God. And I hate every single thing I do. I freaking love Reboot Camp, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm so critical of my own work. I watch this and I go, you know what? You freaking nailed it. It works. Mm-hmm. Everybody did such a fantastic job. Cast and crew, amazing crew, small crew, worked their asses off. David mentioned Derek, and I do want to mention him again. He did a fantastic job catching these moments, which would be really easy to miss, because this was a one-take thing, When he came on board, he's like, okay, so how do we do coverage? I'm like, dude, this is documentary. There's no coverage. You are the coverage. You have two cameras. Freaking catch it, And he did a tremendous job. And so lots of unique challenges for this type of storytelling. And like I said, very hard to be happy about stuff, and I am truly happy about this one.
You guys,
that's important what Evo just said. So when you see like coverage of me, and then coverage of like Jarul and Koechner, that's all being shot at the same time. We didn't reshoot the scene.
I love
so
that.
That's cross coverage was happening with the two cameras, and that's how you got the coverage. But there was one take. That's it. So whatever.
On the improv, I mean, the scripted scenes we took a couple of takes, but on the improv, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can feel it. I love that you did it that way, because I feel like the viewer feels the energy in the room that it's actually happening now, and you really get lost. And, you know, there's not enough comedies, especially in film festivals. Everyone wants to do some dark stuff. But so this smile is real that I can't stop smiling because just replaying the scenes over and over in my head, I'm just giggling the whole time. But so this movie is an hour and 38 minutes at the Garden State Film Festival on Saturday, March 27th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's live in person at the Asbury Lanes, and then it's live streaming. It's everything is Eastern Standard Time, so it's just like when we used to sit down and watch television. You know, at the certain time where it's going to play, you sit down, get ready, and all of the films are going to play Eastern Standard Time. So this is in the Garden State Film Festival, but tell us more, David, about what's happening with Reboot Camp.
A lot of exciting things are happening. So first off, we are with a company called Freestyle Digital Media, who's distributing the film domestically, which means the US and Canada and some Caribbean islands, etc. And the release date is May 4th. We're also being released by Moonrise Pictures around the world soon after that, and by Alarm Pictures in the UK. So Reboot will be out for people to see on all platforms. These are the new movie theaters. We start with TVOD, which is the television VOD, and it goes from there. So if you, for some reason, can't catch it at the festival or want to see it again after the festival, keep an eye out as of May 4th.
I mean, you're going to want to watch it more than one time. There's just no question about it.
Yes.
And then the more you watch it, like you were saying about the Easter eggs, it's just funnier and funnier the more you play it back. What else? Tell me about the projects. Let's go one by one. What are you currently working on now that you're excited about? Or even if you're not excited about it. I'm just kidding.
Do you want to start with Keli? Where are we going?
Sure. We'll go in the Brady Bunch order.
Perfect.
Cool. So we actually just wrapped a movie called Wolf Mountain that I wrote, and David Lipper directed it, and we're both in it, and Eddie's in it too, and it's got a great cast. Got Danny Trejo and Tobin Bell, and we're super excited about it. We literally just finished shooting, and I've got several projects coming out in 2021. A movie with Chris Pang called Underdogs Rising. It's an esports film, and so excited about that. And a film with Carrie Elwes called The Hyperions, and I play a villain in that movie, and it was just a ton of fun. So, yeah.
Nice. Eddie?
I just finished a film called Wolf Mountain with
I love it.
And David. And we wish that Chaz and Evo and Maya had been there. I'm going to be on The Mighty Ducks starting March 26th or 28th on Disney Plus, and with Emilio Estevez, and been doing some gardening at the house and working on my beard.
Nice. I noticed it is different from the movie. It looks great.
Thank you.
Chaz, tell us everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty bummed out that I wasn't in Wolf Mountain, actually, but I'll let that go, guys. I'm actually working on putting together like an audio play series that is horror thriller based for a new platform that's either launched or about to launch, called Verbal, which is kind of putting together everything that is audio but not music.
Cool.
Yeah. So in the process of writing stuff for that and getting some other people to write stuff for that.
That's so cool, especially so with the film festival. For our hearing impaired friends, we always have one block, at least one, that has all subtitles and closed captioning. So I've been trying to raise funding to, I know it's crazy, but that would mean we would probably have to subtitle even the English speaking films. But for our visually impaired friends, that is so amazing. We're on the forefront of ADA, so everything that you just said is unbelievable, and I hope that you guys can promote that. You're offering that,
Cool, thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, it's also kind of, it's been a hard time in the entertainment industry because of COVID. So this, is also kind of a way to get people, working and in a space where we don't necessarily have to be close, and we can be, safe and all of that stuff. So
awesome.
Yep.
Cool. What about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
What about Curb? Yeah, I would love to be back on Curb. Give Larry a call for me and do what you can do.
Okay, Ming, get on that. Awesome. Evo, what's going on?
I was waiting for David to finish shooting this so he can read the latest version of a road trip comedy script that he has in his computer for the last few weeks. Besides that, I'm working on another screenplay, dark kind of thriller comedy, which will be somewhat mockumentary style. I haven't figured that out yet. About a very, very strange contest. And I can't say more because I haven't registered anything yet. So
okay. Zip. David.
Yeah, so yes, I wish everyone could have been in Wolf Mountain, and at least I had some of these guys in there. And Chaz, you will definitely be in the next thing that I can possibly put you in. Maya as well, who at one point we tried to talk about this movie. But okay, what's coming out? So I've got, along with Kelly Price, where I actually met him, Underdogs Rising. I actually have a part in that one as well. I have a film called Painted Beauty that's coming out with Claire Holt, Biling, and a bunch of other really talented people. Barb Pally, Kevin McNally, and Clifton Collins Jr. is the villain, who's amazing. I've got a film called Linked, which is actually, I think we're changing the title to Death Link. That was the first film I directed. It's also a horror film. And it's got a bunch of influencer kids, but a bunch of high school influencers that get away with messing a kid up, and now they have to pay. With Jessica Belkin and Matt Rife and Riker Lynch and Allie Simpson. And then I have a rom-com, which we shot in November with Jodie Sweetin and I as the two leads, which should be out soon, called Will You Be My Quarantine? And then, of course, Wolf Mountain with these guys. That is now in post and hopefully will be out sometime this year. And then this spring, I am off to Canada to shoot a movie that just got greenlit called A Christmas Letter, which I wrote, and will be produced by a company called Incendo that will be distributed worldwide through them. It's been a busy year.
Super busy. Maya, how's quarantine and COVID going for you?
It's been actually pretty busy. First of all, I want to thank David because he really is the type of person you want to know in this industry. He just always reaches out whenever he has a project, and I'm so appreciative. And I just miss this whole group. I feel like with Reboot Camp, we really went on summer camp, and it was just so much fun. Yes, so I've been super busy. I still have a movie on Netflix called Fatal Affair, if you guys want to watch it. I also worked on American Sicario. It's a feature also with Danny Trejo. And then, I just finished a movie right now where I played the lead, but I was also the villain. I played a lot of villains. What is that about? And so that one, I'm really excited about the work, and it's so interesting working in COVID, just such a fascinating process. And then I have another movie coming up that I'm shooting in end of April, that is called The Promise. So it's hard to keep up with with the names of these movies. But yeah, all very different genres. So it's been very exciting just having the challenge of just stepping into all these wonderful different characters. I also didn't know that the podcast was going to be now. So I'm in the midst of boxes. I'm about to move.
Oh.
I'm moving homes. I'm getting married. A lot going on.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I may have to leave you guys, but I wanted to show my support and gratitude. I just couldn't be more thankful for all of you. Just such a great bunch and all just wonderful people to work with. So take care and can't wait to join in on the festival. Very excited.
Cool. Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya.
Bye, guys. Bye.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
So the Garden State Film Festival, we are live in 4 venues, and then we're online only in 4 venues. So the Asbury Lanes, where your film is screening on Saturday, March 27th from 8 p.m. to 11. I have a film also in that block. The film before yours, Victim Number 6, is a 70s thriller. So that block is 2 hours and 22 minutes about. The way the film festival works is after each block, we have 58 different film blocks. We have 300 films this year. I don't know how that happened. We were expecting maybe with COVID that submissions were going to be lower. And then, they all came in. So we're happy to see that our filmmakers are still working. So we're going to be in person. We're super excited. And then offline, we can talk about the details of who's coming to New Jersey to Asbury Park. And we're just so excited. So Friday will be the huge red carpet night. Getty Images will be there with a whole bunch of other media outlets. And we get usually a super large, this year it will be smaller, it'll be 25-foot step and repeat. So everybody will be physically distanced, we'll be wearing masks. But, it's just a really cool vibe. It's a great city. This is our 19th year. Next year will be our 20th. And it might sound very Jersey, but once you're a part of the Garden State Film Festival, you're basically part of our family. So with Reboot Camp and your other projects, don't forget June 1st, 2021, submissions for 2022 start. So for your new projects, don't forget about us. We have distribution partners like with Showtime and IFC, among others. So, we're going to be here for you. And with your success of Reboot Camp, once you leave us, you're alumni of the Garden State Film Festival. So email us. Let us know where the film is going so that we can promote it with you. We're so thrilled. My eye's still tearing because I was laughing like the whole time driving here. My sister and I have inside jokes from your movie, so that's what's really making me a weirdo giggler.
Keep laughing.
I know. I'm just like, oh my god. I don't want to.
Our goal is to become memes.
Ooh,
that's our goal.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much of the movie away because I want everyone to have the same experience all of the judges did watching it for the first time out of the box. We're thrilled. We love all of your dogs. I don't think anybody got to see them before we started rolling. But do you guys have anything else you would like to share, whether it's about Reboot Camp or another project or your love for the industry? Oh, I do have one question. So we also have... Normally, we have over 2,000 attendees for our high school films that play and premiere in the festival. What advice we can go Brady Bunch style, or if anybody wants to just shout something out, what advice do you have to up-and-coming filmmakers / digital media artists that are trying to figure out their way? They come out of the womb now with the electronic devices, but, filmmaking and video production is a little separate. So what kind of advice do you have that, they're like crawling before they can walk and run type of stage?
Advice to up-and-coming filmmakers in high school. Just to take a shot at it. Start any way you can. I mean, nowadays there's so many different outlets and ways for you to get your content out there. So I think, don't be frightened by it and just kind of give it a shot and you'll learn from it and kind of tweak as you go along and grow in the business. So, I can only advise them to kind of team up with other filmmakers or producers or, people that are interested in film and learn from them and kind of grow together and figure out new ways of getting their content out there.
I would say focus on the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people starting out focus so much on the tech side, on camera, and all of that is important. But storytelling is it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, if you don't, like you can make an okay film with really bad camera and art direction and everything else if you have a decent script. You cannot make a good film with a crappy script, even if you have superstars in it. And that is like I learned the hard way. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that. The storytelling is so important, and it's so nuanced, and it seems like a simple thing, and you can bang out a script in a week, but it's the nuance of getting it right is really, really a mixture of craft and art, and it needs to be practiced just like anything else. And I would say that is key, because not a lot of that is out there. There's a lot of content, but good storytelling is priceless.
True. Anyone
Yeah,
else?
I'll jump on what Ivo was saying. And for me, anyone who's writing, I tell them, start with a theme. What is the conversation you want to have started? What is the message you want to deliver? My film Linked, I want people to talk about the dangers of social media and what is that doing to our kids? How is that changing them in creating a persona of who they think they should be rather than who they actually just are? And horror films are great morality tales because it takes it to the highest level. If this affects you in a negative way, it can cause in death, which is where it goes. In Wolf Mountain, we tapped into the story of Cain and Abel, and we tapped into, two brothers presented with the same set of circumstances. What kind of choices would they make? Wow. And so that's really what when Ivo says it's about storytelling. You got to make sure that you're not just doing something for the sake of doing it, but you have something to say. And if you have something to say, what a great opportunity. And kids today are so blessed because they can pick up their phones and make the settings 24 frames per second, 4K, and go shoot a movie. And then they can pop onto their laptops and pop up an editing software that they have access to and start editing. And so you can learn all those tools, but don't forget the most important part, which is to start that conversation. If you have something to say, get people talking about it, get that message out there, and do it cleverly through a well-crafted story.
Awesome.
I'll jump in from a slightly different point of view. I'm a product or graduate of Performing Arts Drama Department, or LaGuardia, as it's now known, in New York. And there's so much to be gained as as making a choice to go to a performing arts or a specialized high school. When I was doing American Horror Story, there were 3 of us that are graduates of that school: Sarah Paulson and Adina Porter. So, and I can't tell you how many actors that I've run into who graduated from my high school. So,
wow.
There's a lot to be learned and gotten from these type of schools that are almost, at a conservatory standard, but in a high school. So if you're interested in being an actor, singer, a dancer, whatever, take advantage of that too.
Awesome. Perfect. Guys, please keep making comedies. Of course, we're going to check out your other films, but it's just a light of fresh air to get comedies. Lately, the past few years, it's like fewer and fewer. So it's just amazing. Because also, in 2020, the Garden State Film Festival was the first and only thing during the pandemic to actually be brought into the homes to bring joy and to bring the arts into everybody's homes. And it's just, so important. And on the Wednesday of the festival, we have I'm giggling because the guru is in my head talking. We have a Wednesday mindfulness and how it unlocks the creative process with Jillian Pransky. So to go along with the mental health aspect and the comedy, and just to bring some lightheartedness and joy into the world when things are so wild. It's just really refreshing, and we thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in New Jersey at Asbury Park on March. The festival starts the 23rd in Cranford, New Jersey. Then it's until Sunday, March 28th. So with that, thank you so much. We're going to sign off, and we will see you soon at the Garden State Film Festival. For more information and tickets, go to gsff.org. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.